So hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I will going to discuss the PIB weekly analysis. So the full form of PIB is Press Information Bureau. In this we will discuss the main current related topics which are important for UPSC examinations. So first we will discuss the subject is polity, second international relations, third science and technology, and fourth defense. After that, economy, environment, government schemes and initiative or miscellaneous topics. Right? So first we start from polity. So first topic is President appoints additional judges. In this what we will see that in exercise of the powers confirmed by the clause 1 in clause 1 of article 217 of the Constitution of India, the President of India what saying, the President of India was saying that after consultation with Chief Justice of India appointed the 6 additional judges as permanent judge. For what? Permanent judge of the Bombay High Court. Now second, you will see the 73rd plenary session of the North Eastern Council, that is NEC, North Eastern Council. So Union Home Minister and Minister of Corporation Sri Amit Shah chairs 73rd plenary session of the North Eastern Council, that is NEC. Who is that? Sri Amit Shah. And 73rd plenary session of the North Eastern Council in Shillong. In where? In Shillong. We have to remember this. And capital of Meghalaya. Now second point is, under Modi government, peace has returned to Northeast through more than 12 peace accords, while infrastructure development and enhanced rail, roads and air connectivity have bridged not only physical distances but also distance between herds. Now third topic we will see or points. Through government policies of Act East, Act First and Act Fast, the vision of a Purvodaya is becoming a reality. So once known as a region marked by a disputes of the challenges has today emerged as a hub of opportunity. Good. Now we move on to third topic, that is National Panchayat Award 2025. In this topic you will see that the National Panchayat Award 2025 was confirmed on 42 outstanding panchayats from across the country in New Delhi by Union Minister of Panchayati Raj. So second point is, the Union Minister expressed satisfaction that 22 of the 42 award winning panchayats are led by women. So describing it as a testament to the transformative impact of a woman's leadership and inclusive governance in rural India. Now about National Panchayat Awards we also see. Now we will see the next point, that is the National Panchayat Award are confirmed annually by the Minister of a Panchayati Raj to recognize and initiative best performing panchayats for their exemplary contributions to inclusives. Okay, so participatory and substantial rural development also. Good. Now move on to next topic. But we will see in this that the awards framework was comprehensively revamped. In which year? 2023. Just keep remember this. And aligning with the 9 themes. How many themes? 9 themes. Locations of SDGs that are making the assignments more holistic, transparent and future oriented. Good. Now next point is NPA. NPA that is come on 2025 was confirmed across 2 major categories. That name was the Deen Dayal Upadhyay Panchayat Satat Vikas Puraskar, that is called DDUPSVP, that is Deen Dayal Upadhyay Panchayat Satat Vikas Puraskar. So this award was to whom given? To 34th Gram Panchayats from 17 states and union territories of distinguished performance across 9 themes of locations of sustainable development goals, that is LSDGs. Good. Now move on to next topic. Though the Nanaji Deshmukh Sarvottam Panchayat Satat Vikas Puraskar was conferred on 8 panchayat comprising 3 best district panchayats or 2 best block panchayats and 3 best gram panchayats. So recognized as the best performing entities on an all-over basis. Good. So awardee panchayats received financial initiatives under the incentivations of the panchayats, that is scheme, a component of the Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, that is RGSA, ranging from rupees 50 lakh to rupees 5 crore per award to be utilized for further development works. Okay, now move on to next topic. That is next subject we will see now, international relations. In international relations we will see that India and UK critical minerals global supply chain observatory. Okay, so we will see the first point, that is the India UK critical minerals global supply chain observatory, that is GSCO, was formally launched in New Delhi by G. Kishan Reddy, Honorable Union Minister of Coal and Mines in Government of India, and Beauty Copper, Secretary of State for Foraging and Commonwealth and Development Affairs or United Kingdom. So this all are. Now second point we will see, the launch marks a significant milestone in the growing India UK partnership on critical minerals and supply chain resilience, reinforcing cooperation in securing the resources essential for clean energy transitions, advanced manufacturing, electric mobility and emerging technologies. Good. Now move on to next topic, that is Cambodia became 9th country of UPI acceptance. Which country of Cambodia? NPCI, International Payment Limited. The international arm of the National Payment Corporation of India has officially partnered with ACLEDA Bank. This is a bank name to launch Unified Payment Interface, that is UPI. The full form of UPI is Unified Payment Interface acceptance in Cambodia. Good. Now second point we will see that UPI coverage around the world, and UPI is accepted in 8 countries, that is Singapore, United Arab, France, Nepal, Bhutan, Qatar, Sri Lanka, etc., and enabling India travelers to make seamless payments abroad through similar platforms. Now Cambodia is the 9th country joining the list. Now in this list the Cambodia was also joined. So let's move on to next topic. Before that we will see the strategic impact driving tourism and digital efficiency. For tourism, what is this impact? So, the digital payment corridor represents a major shift in how commerce operates between the two countries, delivering immediate benefits, that is enhanced traveler convenience, economic boost for local merchants, and operation efficiency. Now we will see the next topic, that is India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. In last video we have also seen about this CEPA. So we will do the quick revision of this. Okay. So the India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement has come into force on 1st June 2026, marking a major milestone in strengthening the economic and strategic partnership between the two countries. So the CEPA provides significant market access opportunity for India's textile and apparel sector. Oman have accorded immediately duty-free access on all 945 textile and apparel tariff lines, eliminating the existing 5% of MFN duty and substantially enhancing the price competitiveness. So now we see the next point, that is moreover immediate zero duty access by elimination of the 5% MFN duty has also been provided on exports of handicraft lines. So this places India is a strong position to expand its exports and consolidation. It's present in a key Gulf market. Where? In key Gulf market. So CEPA shall also strengthen cooperation in intellectual property rights, reaffirming both countries' rights under the WTO TRIPS agreement and ensuring national treatment in the protection of IPR. So the agreement provides for recognition of a geographical indications, that is GIS, which is expected to enhance the visibility and marketability of India's GI targeted or a tagged handloom and handicraft product in the OMI market, further promoting brand India or globally or etc. Okay. Now we move on to next subject, that is science and technology. So here is we will see the 11-year solar activity cycle. So the Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, known for the oldest continuous series of solar data connected in India, have helped uncover how gain convection patterns on the sun respond to solar activity, providing insights for future solar cycle predictions. Okay, so much like a boiling point of a water on a stove. Okay, so we will think that a boiling point of a water on a stove, the energy generated with the sun is transported through its outer layer via convections. So convection cells lead to the formation of a small scale granulations and a large scale supergranulations as a network structure on the solar surface. Good. So the network cells have an average lifetime of a 24-hour and a size about 30,000 km. So the width of the cooler intergranular lens is about 6,000 km. So what is the origin of this supergranulars? What? So what determines their size and what is their relation with 11-year solar cycle continue to be a puzzle. So a recent study from the India Institute of Astrophysics, based on more than 100 years of data from Kodaikanal Solar Observatory, sheds some light on these questions. Okay. Now move on to next topic, that is next generation nomomedicine. So scientists from Pune have reported a gene silencing strategy that can drive effective tumor inhibited in breast cancer, highlighting its potential as a next generation presence nanomedicine. And second point, we will see that advance in cancer nanomedicines are increasingly shifting towards precision strategies that directly silence disease driving genesis while minimizing systematic toxicity. And now third point, we will see that scientists from the Agharkar Research Institute, from where I'm sorry, here written two times from. So scientists from the Agharkar Research Institute, ARI, Pune and Autonomous Institute under the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, have presented an innovative biodegradable nanocarrier, which biodegradable nanocarrier platform engineered for targeted gene therapy in breast cancer. Okay, this was made for breast cancer for women. Now the research recently published in Advanced Healthcare Materials provide new insights into targeted gene silencing of a key survival pathway in breast cancer, enabling efficient tumor targeting and suppressions, and offering a promising strategy for developing more effective and safer nanomedicine based therapies. These are all safe. We can't have to worry about that's all depend on the good doctors, right? That all depends on the good doctors. So the system is built on biodegradable mesoporous silica nanoparticles, well known for their high loading capacity and a tunable surface chemistry, so which enable efficiency delivery of a small interfering RNA, that is siRNA molecules, right? Now we will see the next, that is defense. So Rudra M. Rudra M2 air-to-surface missile. In this topic, what we will see, that Defense Research and Development Organization (DRDO) and the Indian Air Force (IAF) have conducted the successful flight test of a Rudra M2 air-to-surface missile from an airborne platforms. So the tests were conducted under extreme release conditions the critical trajectory, establishing the capability of all subsystems. Okay. So next topic you will see Project Udayak. So, Border Roads Organization (BRO) Border Road Organizations celebrated 37th Racing Day of a Project Udayak on June 1, 2026 at Dumdoma, Assam. In where? Dumdoma, Assam. So, interested with over 1,457 kilometers of a road network, Project Udayak has been instrumental in the development and maintenance of a strategic road infrastructure in the easternmost region of Arunachal Pradesh and part of Assam. So Arunachal Pradesh is a part of Assam where it was happening this project. Okay, the project plays a vital role in enhancing connectivity in remote and strategic significance area along the line of actual control, which we see in the top of our map. Okay, and the Indo-Myanmar border. So the project is currently undertaking constructions of a road and a border financing infrastructure along the Indo-Myanmar border, strengthening national security and improving accessibility in border regions. Good. Now we will see the next subject, that is economy. In economy, what we will see? Let's move. So first topic is Land Port Management System, LPMS. So in this we will see that Union Home Minister and Minister of Corporation Sri Amit Shah to launch Land Port Myanmar System, that is LPMS in New Delhi. So initiative underscores Modi government's commitment to smart border management and security in cross-border trade and passenger movement. And LPMS is a state-of-the-art digital platform designed to integrate operations across land ports into a unified system. Equips land ports with secure, real-time exchange of logistic and regulatory information akin to airports and seaports. End-to-end digital workflow for cargo and passenger processing including slots, booking payments, tracking and single window clearness. Right? So, now next topic is Save the Farm campaign. This topic is saying about the Save the Farm. So, the national wide Khet Bachao Abhiyan. Khet Bachao Abhiyan launched under the aegis of the Union Ministry for Agriculture and Farmers. So, welfare to promote the balanced fertilizers use, conservation of soil fertility and a sustainable farming practices in continuing with extensive public outreach activities across the country. Okay, now move on to third topic, that is GSEC market and foreign portfolio investment FPI reforms. Okay, in this we will see that in line with the government's commitment to this channel, what government was committing to the public, that standing India's positions as a leading global investment, that they will change the position of the India in the global investment, that distinction and the deepen and capital market. The Ministry of Finance has taken a series of measures aimed at enhance the ease of investment for individual persons residents outside India and foreign portfolio investors, and to attract stable long-term foreign capital flows. Okay, and they also stable the long-term foreigners which are coming and which are flowing, right? So building on the recent initiatives to enhance ease of doing business in capital markets, the government has undertaken further reforms to make foreign investments in equities and GSECs more accessible, efficient and globally competitive, right? So what we see in this, we will see some key reforms, that why, why and how this is important. Okay. So first point, that is liberalizations of investment by individual persons, by individuals and by single persons resident outside India under the foreign exchange management non-debit industry. What is saying here? Now, review of the regulatory framework of FPI investment in government securities, exempt interest and capital gains on GSECs from tax. Okay. Now, we will see the next topic, that is base year of wholesale price index revised. Now the revision of the base year of a wholesale price index, that is WPI, from 2011 to 2012 to 2022 to 2023, and compilation of a, what is this, producer price indices. What? Compilation of a producer price indices have been approved by the commitment authority in its meeting held on 25/5/2026. Okay, so the Officer of Economic Advisor DPIIT will accordingly release the revised series of a WPI with base year 2022 to 23 on this date. So which would replace the exciting series of a WPI with base year 2011 and 12. That is, in addition, the office would also release new series of output producer price index, that is trial input producer price index, and service producer price index of 7 services, that is via banking, securities transactions, insurance, management of a pension funds, railway, air passengers, and telecom with base year, that is 2022 to 23. Right? Now we will see the next topic, that is Mission Sahinjori. So the Union Minister of Development of a Northeastern region launched Mission Sahinjori Assam Muga Silk USP, a comprehensive cluster-based initiative aimed at transforming Assam's unique Muga silk sector into a globally competitive high-value luxury textile ecosystem. Right? So Muga silk, known as the world only naturally golden silk and India's first GI tagged silk. India's first GI tagged silk to support nearby 2.6 lakh rural and behavior families in Assam. Okay. So despite its rarity and global recognitions, the sector remains significantly under monetized. So Mission Sahinjori seeks to bridge which this value gap was creating a premium and a traceable and a export oriented Muga silk economy. Okay, I hope you all get this point. Now next topic is new IIP series. What is this IIP series? So we will see the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementations has revised the base year of the All India Index of Industrial Productions from 2011 to 12 of 2022 to 23 with the objective of making the index more representative of the current structure and dynamics of the industrial sector. So the revised series incorporates and update its basket, a revised weighting structure, and enhance sector coverage to better capture recent developments in industrial activity across the economy. Right? So now we move on to next, that is environment. So this subject was also important in GS3. So we will see first, that is India's 100th Ramsar site. Prime Minister lauds designations of a Jai Prakash Narayan Bird Sanctuary, that is Surhatal in Baliar. Where is this? In Uttar Pradesh, as India's 100th Ramsar site. Okay. Now next topic we will see E85 rollout. So the Indian Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Sri Hardeep Singh Puri, launched E85 fuel at the Indian Oil Retail Outlet in New Delhi today on the occasion of a World Environment Day 2026. So E85 is the high ethanol blended fuel comprising 80 to 85% ethanol and 14 to 19% petrol. Specifically, this is designed for use in flex fuel vehicles. For where? Flex fuel vehicles. So the initiative aims to facilitate the adoption of a flex fuel vehicles which are capable of operating on ethanol blends for E20 to E100 without restricting consumers to a single blend. Okay. Now we will see the third topic, that is world's largest inhabited river island. So where is this? So a new study has reconstructed nearly 4,000 years. Where? 4,000 years of a climate and a vegetation's history of a Majuli. Where? History of a Majuli island. So Assam, the world's largest inhabited river island, culturally significant as the settlement of several tribes and as a major center of a new Vaishnavite culture. Where? Vaishnavite culture. So, this Vaishnavite culture, a reformist Vaishnavism movement. Okay, Vaishnavism we will call as Lord Vishnu also. Okay, so dedicated to Lord Vishnu. So, this study offers a long-term perspective. So, this prescriptive. So, now we see the next topic, that is world's largest inhabited river island. Okay, so we will see here a new study has reconstructed nearly 4,000 years of a climate and a vegetation history of a Majuli Island, Assam, the world's largest inhabited river island, culturally significant as the settlement of several tribes as a major center of a neo-Vaishnavite culture. So this culture was, I think it is about the Lord Vishnu. Okay, so it is totally dedicated to Lord Vishnu. A reformist Vaishnavism movement. Okay, so this study offers a long-term perspective on climate variability, vegetation change, and a flood dynamics, or a Majuli Island, and it could shape adaptation strategies for flood affected communities. Good. On this, we will see that Majuli Island persists between the Brahmaputra River, where this persists between the Brahmaputra River to the southeast and the Subansiri River to the west, and a branch of a Brahmaputra to the north has been severely affected by the recurrent flooding and intensive riverbank erosion. Good. Now, second point, despite its global importance in acquiring UNESCO tentative status for cultural significance, the region lacked any comprehensive long-term paleological reconstruction based on a palynological evidence. For where? Palynological evidence. So, resting on an integrated modern and fossil pollen records. Which records? Fossil records. So, pollen services as one of the most reliable indicators of a past environmental conditions, as they are durable and can remain preserved in sediments for thousands to millions of years. Right? Now, we will see the next subject, that is government schemes and initiatives. Some schemes we will see or initiative. After that, we will see the miscellaneous topics. Then I hope you will stay till last, because we will get the important questions also. The important questions were also compulsory for the revision, right? So next we will see the e-Jagriti platforms. So the Department of Consumer Affairs e-Jagriti platform has been awarded the Silver Award under category I-Government Process Re-engineering by use of a technology for digital transforming at the prestigious National Award for E-Governance in 2026, presented by the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. So this was launched on 1st January 2025. We have to remember this. In e-Jagriti has unified 4 legacy applications, that is OCMS, eDakhil, NCDRC CMS, and Component into the single AI-enabled paperless platform. So since its launch, the platform has facilitated filing of over 2.29 lakh consumer cases and disposal of over 2.07 lakh cases. So achieving an overall disposal rate of the 90.75%, while enabling consumers to access justice seamlessly from anywhere in India and abroad. Good. Now we move on to next topic, that is Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Good. So we will see that West Bengal became the 36th state that union territories to implement Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Now next topic is Panchayat Advancement Index. The Panchayat Advancement Index, we will see here that a flagship data-driven governance initiative of the Ministry of Panchayati Raj has been selected for the Gold Award at the National Award for e-governance 2026 under category 7. So the digital transformation through the use of a data analysis in digital platforms by the central minister, state or the union territories. So this is about the Panchayat Advancement Index, right? Now next we will see the Panchayati Advancement Index, that is PI, is India's first comprehensive data driven framework for assessing and ranking the performance of a Gram Panchayati across the 9 themes of the localization of the Sustainable Development Goals, which 9 themes of a localizations. So the PAI 2.0, the latest and a significant strengthened version of the index, assesses more than 2.6 lakh gram panchayats against 150 indicators and 230 data points. Okay, these points are too important. So next topic we will see Union Military Gender Advocate of the Year Award. Okay, who get the Gender Advocate Year Award? We will see that Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi recently congratulated Major Abhilasha Barak on being conferred the UN Military Gender Advocate of the Year award. The Prime Minister noted that Major Barak is serving as an engagement team commander and a gender focal point with the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, that is UNIFIL. So now we will see the Norway Chess Champion 2026 is who? That was R. Pragnanda. R. Pragnanda became the first Indian to win the prestigious Norway chess after defeating Vincent Kemmer in 10th and final round and cleaning the title with 4 consecutive classical victories. Okay, he was the winner of a chess. Right. Now we will see the practice questions. This question you will give answer in main comment section. Okay. So first what we will see, who became the first Indian to win Norway Chess 2026, as we have seen, that R. Pragananda. And second we will see who was confirmed the UN Military Gender Advocate of the Year award. Who is that? Abhilasha Barak. And third, the base year of the wholesale price index has been revised for 2011 to 2012. So which year it was? Please comment which year. So I hope you all liked my session and you get all the important points, and so go and revise this. Don't keep it this video like only. So thank you so much. Have a nice day.